Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another book review. I know I got a lot of reviews in this month and I'm really excited about that. And this is going to be my review on The Lost Village by Camilla Sten. So this book came out, I believe, on March 31st of 2021. It was originally released in 2019, but it was released not in English. So this is the first time that the translation in English was available to English readers as of 2021. So I believe this was originally written in Swedish, but now we can read it. I picked this up because I really liked the premise. I'm going to read the inside of the cover for you guys really quickly. And as I said in my book haul a couple weeks ago, this opening sentence of The Blair Witch Project meets Midsummer in this brilliantly disturbing thriller from Camilla Sten, an electrifying new voice and suspense, was the reason I wanted to pick this up. The concept of a found footage film like Blair Witch Project meeting some of the more intricate stylings of Ari Aster really spoke to me. I really liked Midsummer. Obviously I like the Blair Witch Project, so I was really intrigued by that, and a lot of times I feel like book taglines can sometimes lead you astray, so I was definitely a little hesitant, but let me continue reading the inside for you. So it says, documentary filmmaker Alice Lindstedt has been obsessed with the vanishing residents of an old mining town dubbed the Lost Village since she was a little girl. In 1959, her grandmother's entire family disappeared in a mysterious tragedy, and ever since, the unanswered questions surrounding the only two people who were left, a woman stoned to death in the town center and an abandoned newborn, have plagued her. She's gathered a small crew of friends in the remote village to make a film about what really happened, and there will be no turning back. Not long after they've set up camp, strange things begin to happen. Equipment is destroyed, people go missing. As doubt breeds fear and their very minds begin to crack, one thing becomes startlingly clear to Alice. They are not alone. They're looking for the truth, but what if it finds them first? Come find out. So again, I was definitely a little hesitant picking this book up, especially because when I looked at the reviews on Goodreads, a lot of people were like giving it mediocre reviews, a lot of 3-star reviews. I think the average rating on Goodreads was a 3.5. I can actually tell you right now, it is a 3.57. So it definitely a little lower than what I would normally gravitate towards. I usually try to stay in like the 3.8 and up range when I look at books on Goodreads, because I don't like wasting my time on books that I don't like. Spoiler alert, this was a 4-star read for me. I really liked this book. This book was really creepy. There was one scene in this book didn't actually scare me, but there was one scene in this book that I found so creepy and eerie and atmospheric that I had to put it down because I was reading it alone late at night, and I was like, I can't keep reading this in the dark. Like, I'm very unnerved reading this. But I will say this is also an extremely slow burn. Extremely slow burn. It is not found footage at all, but it is told through the perspective of people making a documentary. There are 5 people on the trip. It is led by our main character, Alice, who goes with her friend, I think it's pronounced Tony, I'm not sure, it's Tone, who, I'm not going to ruin who any of these characters are actually for you, but it's her and her friend Tony, their friend Max, and then their like editor and production assistant, Emmy, and I kind of like her love interest, this guy named Robert. So these are our cast of characters who are going into the town of Silvertjarn. I'm sorry if I say that wrong. I think that's how you say it. Basically to try and piece together what happened. As you can tell, things go very awry. So one of the things that I think really worked for this book is this is a very slow burn. And I can see why some people might not like that, because it's a lot of atmosphere, a lot of buildup. It felt very gothic in that sense, except instead of being in like a sprawling mansion, they're in a very strange foreign town. And the setting is absolutely a character in this story, very eerie, again, very atmospheric, very slow and subtle in the creepiness. It does, very similar to Mexican Gothic. The first 2/3 of this book are very slow, very drawn out, and then there's like a climax and everything kind of tumbles down in the 3rd act very rapidly, which is this new kind of form of, I guess I would call it like contemporary Gothic, and that's definitely like the point of Mexican Gothic, right? But this, I would say The Lost Village falls in there too. where the new structure for Gothic is instead of that slow burn throughout the entire novel and then like a big reveal, it's pretty much 2/3 of the book very slow burn, and then you get this crazy crescendo third act. And I like this formula. It definitely worked really, really well in this. And I think this book does an amazing, amazing, amazing job at kind of nailing the points that Camilla Sten wanted to with it. If you read her foreword in the book, she says that she wrote this book not with the initial intention of it becoming a book, but kind of a way to look at mental illness on different levels. And we get 3 major characters who are in different stages of struggling with their own mental illness, I would say. You have one who, in the book, she kind of determines that this character has recovered. I would argue that not really, but she has learned to really adapt and move with her mental illness, and has gotten through some of the more nasty parts. We have another one who is kind of going through that at the same time, and then we have another character who you see what happens when you don't ever get any kind of help for mental illness, and the kind of taboo and negativity that society as a whole kind of puts on mental illness, and how we kind of vilify it even in modern times compared to how much it was vilified before we understood it. There's a huge comparison of that as well, and it kind of shows you that there are still a lot of negative connotations with mental illnesses that should not exist. And I thought that this book really, really handled that well. It showcased it extremely well. I really, really, really like books that focus on mental illness, especially anxiety and depression. I think it's a very relatable topic for me. So I love seeing it done in a very, very respectful way, as well as a way that really showcases some of the issues in society when it pertains to perceiving mental illness and how we just don't accept it as an illness a lot of times. So I did think that that was very, very well done. A couple little negative things. I will say that the characters were not my favorite people on earth. There was no single character that I felt really, really stood out as I love you, I want to root for you, I want to know everything about you. A lot of the characters pretty much just push the plot. I will say our major character again is the town of Silver Charn, and the mystery around that. If you are a fan of Todd Keesling's Devil's Creek, read this book. 100%. There's no cosmic horror in this book, I will tell you that right away. But it's midsummer, right? There's definitely going to be that little bit of the culty undertones. And I think it is very similar in tone and execution to Todd Keesling's Devil's Creek. I liked them both equally. I thought they handled their subject matter in very similar ways and did a really, really, really good job of it. I find cults really, really fascinating, and I think this book does an interesting job at basically depicting how cults kind of form, and the weird, almost Stockholm syndrome that I think people get from being in a cult, and I think this is handled really interestingly. I do wish that there was more information on the inception of the cult and how all of this comes about. I don't really want to give anything away. I'm not really calling it a spoiler because it immediately tells you on the cover that it's midsummer, midsummer, midsummer. This is very midsummer. So that is very, very true. But I just wish there was a little bit more on that aspect. I would like to know more. It leaves it very, very vague and up to your own interpretation. I don't necessarily feel like that was the right move for this novel. I would have liked to know more and more and more. I thought this was absolutely fascinating. But I did really, really like it. This is another book that's really the horror genre is just killing Swedish tourism. I swear, between this, The Ritual, and Midsummer, it's Sweden kind of looks like a scary, scary place, which kind of makes me want to visit it even more. I really do want to go to Stockholm. It's on my list of places to visit. But yeah, I really, 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 really enjoyed this book. I definitely was hesitant the first couple chapters. Again, when I see like mediocre reviews on novels, if it's something that like the subject matter really, really speaks to me, I will end up picking it up. But I do get a little hesitant because I don't want like to find out like the writing is flat or the characters are bad or that it's been badly marketed. Like the Sanatorium was marketed to me as a gothic novel, and it is not. I have a whole review on that novel, but that was such a huge disappointment, and I was really scared that The Lost Village might end up that way as well. It does not. It is marketed very well. The writing is really, really good. There's a couple moments where I feel like things got lost in translation and like it feels a little clunky and weird, but I don't think it's the writing per se. I just think it's the translation over. But I did really, really enjoy the writing. I really enjoyed the narrative. It felt very, it was done in like kind of bursts of quick chapters, yet it was still a very slow burn. So I didn't feel like it was ever like a slog, even though it was definitely a lot of build up to get to the big climax in the last third. But yeah, very well written, very creepy, very eerie, definitely hits all of the marks that I wanted. Might not be your thing if you're not into the kind of slower burn horror. But I love slow burn gothic, so I was so pleased with this. So yeah, no, if you're into like cults, if you're into like being alone and like the whole like isolation horror, I think you will really, really like this. Again, atmosphere and the town, definitely the two biggest characters. And there's a lot of twists and turns, and it's really fun, and it is a mystery, and the mystery gets solved, and it's a very satisfying conclusion, and I was really, really, really happy with it. It's also told sort of through letters here and there, letters and like flashbacks. It's an interesting formula for a book. It's a lot of like present flashbacks with like letters in between that kind of connect everything, and I really, really liked this style. It's a style I don't see very often, and I thought it was fun and done very effectively. So yes, Lost Village by Camilla Sten, 4-star read for me. Really, really pleased with this. So happy I picked it up. And yeah, I've had a really good reading month. I can't wait for my wrap up at the end of the month because I've just had like a lot of hits after hits after hits this month. So stoked on that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I post every Monday and Thursday. If you enjoy these videos, please hit those like and subscribe buttons down below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Mwah. Bye.